Hello everybody, Chris Jordan with Team C&E back on here. If you were watching the live video before, there was a bad feedback, so we deleted it. But the good news is we're going to try this again. That's a great thing about this situation is if we don't get it right the first time, we can come back and try again. So as we're waiting for Robert to hop on, I'm just going to kind of lay the groundwork for you. If you remember for our Inspired to Lead conference in Arkansas, we started doing videos, and it was a great way for you guys as attendees or just those interested in finding out more about the speakers to really get to meet them, quote unquote, live, unscripted, and just be able to hear their heart. And today we're going to share our first live speaker introduction, and it's going to be Mr. Robert Thibodeau. And as soon as he pops up on the screen and I can get him added, we're going to do that. But if you're hopping on, please hit the share button. Please go ahead and let everybody know that you are watching this because that is how we're going to get the word spread. If you want to be in the room and you want to be a part of this awesome experience, because that's exactly what it is, then share, 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 and then also invest in yourself, your team, and all that kind of stuff, which I believe Robert Thibodeau, who just hopped on, is going to talk a little bit about. So, Robert, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, no feedback this time. I think we're going to be good to go, man. So you said some amazing things in our first little interview, and I'm sure that you're not going to lose that because you're just awesome anyway. And so that's just a part of who you are. It's in your blood. It's in your system. So again, go ahead, introduce yourself to the masses, if you will, even though you're well known out there anyway. But to those that may not know you and what it is you're going to be bringing to the Inspired to Lead experience here in Bel Air.
All right. Bob Thibodeau, 12-year Army veteran, both enlisted time and officer, former drill instructor, a retired police officer, ordained minister since 2002. Started the Evangelism Radio Christian online radio station in 2010. It's now 8 years old. We've been rated #1 in the world by shoutcast.com on several occasions, listeners in 160 plus nations. Have my Kingdom Crossroads podcast and my Daily Leadership Tips podcast because because of my background in leadership, I help businesses and ministries to build their leadership teams. Everybody has a team. Even if you're a sole proprietor, you have a team. It could be just the person you help you with your newspaper ads or the copy place where you go and have all your brochures printed and things like that. These are part of your business team. So even though you're a sole proprietor, I show you and help you build those relationships to help further your business because it is your business, not their business. It's your business. And if you have 2 or 3 people on your team, I show you how to come together and build that team spirit, build that leadership experience, because the ultimate goal is for them to handle things when you're not there. And you can't trust them if you haven't trained them. And they can't trust you if you're just leaving them on their own trying to figure it out. So it's all about building the team. And the thing I like doing is, I still have it, my cup of coffee. If you have a cup of coffee, stop and think. And this is what we'll be going over at the Inspired to Lead conference because my session is on intentionality. And to be intentional, you have to know what it is you're trying to be intentional about. And using a cup of coffee as the analogy, what does it take to make a cup of coffee? Well, you got to have water, you got to have a container, you got to have some heat, and you got to have coffee. Okay, tea is not coffee. You have to have coffee if you want coffee. And the quality of the coffee is simply a mixture of all those elements. So if you want, better tasting coffee, add a little bit more coffee grounds, maybe crank up the heat a little bit so it brews better. But the quality is just a mixture of the 4 main elements. If you don't have one of those elements, if you don't have water, you don't have coffee. Okay. If you don't have coffee and you have tea, you don't have coffee. You have tea. What is it you're trying to do? So in a business, you could, let's say you want to be in the business of selling socks. What is it you're trying to sell? Is it winter socks, summer socks, sporting socks, nylon socks? Who's your target market? Once you identify that, how are you going to market it? These are all things that we'll be going over that you can focus in and just boil it down to 3, 4 maybe at the max 5 different areas. And as you focus on completing each one of those areas, ultimately you have your business plan and you are intentional in what you're trying to do. And that's what's going to make you successful. And I'm so looking forward to sharing all this in detail at the Inspired Lead Conference, because I can guarantee you, when you arrive, you will not leave the same condition you came in. There are a whole gathering of speakers. They'll be imparting to you. And, my presentation is just one of them. And I can guarantee you, you will not leave in the same condition that you arrived.
Yeah, you're tying right back into what we talked about at the first video, and I definitely want to mention again that whole transformation thing.
Yeah.
The way that we have this set up, you're the third speaker, so we're actually you're the one right before lunch, so no pressure. Clyde has been in that position; he understands the struggle is real, especially when you have to smell the barbecue and all that. But when you're talking about something as impactful as intentionality, you're gonna have the audience's attention because you're tying in the first 2 sessions, which is on leadership and identity. So kind of that whole idea of who am I as a leader, and now taking that intentional action, bridging the gap over to, those actionable quote unquote items that are going to really catapult you into that complete transformation. So
Right.
intentionality is really, I feel, the key, putting the key in the ignition to starting up that transformation in your life.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree
so
more.
how are you going to integrate, or engage the audience to have them kind of participate with each other or even with you in building this concept of team and being intentional in taking those steps?
Well, I like having people actually write down, pick any topic. I mean, it could be cutting the grass. It could be, washing the car, whatever task. It doesn't have to be, to actually sit there and focus on your business while you're at a conference like that will distract you from receiving what's being imparted. Take the examples and we'll just do something really quick. Let's say, let's look at cutting grass. Okay. You're going to cut the grass. Are you going to take the old Army shears out and, cut one blade at a time? Or are you going to have a power mower, electric mower, a push mower, which I don't even know if they make those anymore.
They
Are
do, I
you going to
think.
use a sickle? What is it you're going to use to cut the grass with? Okay, now you've identified that. You're cutting the grass. You know what you're going to use. How are you going to use it? Are you going to go back and forth? Are you going to go diagonal? Are you going to go box cut? And then actually doing it. So you're going to identify the steps, focus on the completion of the step, because by the time you complete the 4th step, your grass is cut. Mission accomplished. Right? So we'll just use simple examples like that and let them write it down. And if they have a question, naturally I'll be there to answer it. May not know the answer, but I'll try. And the point is practicing what you hear, because if you can practice it with simple steps, then when you get back to your business, you can implement the big steps, right? And actually focus on what you're doing there. It's I relate everything back to the military training. They don't put you in charge of a platoon running a major combat operation when you can't even operate as a squad, and you can't operate as a squad unless you know how to operate as an individual. So let's start small at the conference, and you'll learn the basics. Then you go back and you implement it in your business and accomplish the mission.
That's awesome. And I think one thing you said too is like, even if I don't know the answer, what's great about the way that this is set up is everybody in the room is like-minded. They have a growth mindset. And I really see this as like just a huge mastermind
Exactly.
opportunity
Yep.
where we're all coming together. We have, the speakers aren't there, like you said. It's not just about me coming and imparting something. How much am I going to gain from the last 2 conferences? I can tell you I've gained more than I could have ever given listening to the speakers and even some of the attendees and those conversations they had, especially in those moments of relationship building, being
Yeah.
intentional, like you said, and taking that step, asking a question, and really, taking the time to listen and develop that connection.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I recommend, let's say you're coming in with a group of friends, 3, 4, 5 of you. Don't sit at the same table and just hang out with yourself.
Mm.
Break it up.
Wow.
Go to, have one person from your business sit at each table because that networking event is also, that's part of the collaboration. That's part of what you're trying to get there, because you never know. I can tell you from a great story, and I'll go over this at the conference, but our phone app, I was at a dinner for the Maryland Bible Society back 3 or 4 years ago. And, you know, there was no assigned seating. It was just happen chance that I sat at a table with a group of people, and one of the people was the vice president from Back to the Bible. And, you know, he said, "What do you do?" And I told him about our ministry, the radio station. He goes, "Wow, that's awesome." He goes, "That's great. Do you have a phone app yet?" I goes, "I haven't been able to afford that." He goes, "I'll have our team build you one for free." And that's how
Wow.
we got our phone app for evangelism, because I sat, instead of sitting with, you know, people I knew, I was just, well, let me sit over here. You know, I mean, it'd be nice to sit there with your friends and hang out and have a good time, but I was there to network as well, right? So I sat down at this other table, and just happened, that's who I was sitting next to. So you never know who you're going to meet at these conferences and what it's going to bring to your business. Our phone app, I mean, we got 300 or 400 people that have our phone app on their smartphones, and it continues to grow every month. So, you know, use this as a networking event. Don't use it as a, hey, let's go hang out for the day with the buddies. You know, use it to grow your business.
Yeah, and I think that's the way it's set up, is exactly what you're talking about. I love that you already are having a call to action for people coming to step out of their comfort zone. I
Yeah.
love that, and it fits right with what you're talking about, intentionality. You have to be intentional. It takes that decision and that action step. And I can honestly say that I'm looking forward to having you. You're new to the team, quote unquote, if you will, but definitely not new to this world of growth mindset and taking action and leading. So I'm super excited about what you're bringing. And I can tell you that intentionality for me is really that glue that's going to kind of bring everything together. I mean, without that word, without that topic, you really aren't going to have sustainable growth, I don't believe.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Amen.
So any last minute things? I mean, I don't want to take too much of your time. I know we've got crazy schedules, but I appreciate you being on here. Everybody, you know, if you guys are watching this, definitely give a like, give a comment, let us know you're seeing this, what you think, and share it. But Robert, leave us with something, some words of wisdom or something you've got on your heart, and we'll close this out.
Well, one of my favorite sayings: a good plan implemented now is better than a perfect plan that you try later. So just
Oh,
do it.
amen. I love it. Well, there you have it, guys. Robert Thibodeau. He's our third speaker at the Inspired to Lead event here in Bel Air, Maryland on June 15th. He is just one of many of a team of speakers that is going to just bring opportunities for you to actually step into transformational growth. This is a great opportunity, like Robert said, to network, but not just to network like you know, to actually build connections and build relationships. It's set up to give you the time and to give you the opportunity to do that. So again, Robert said it. Don't sit at a table with your friends. Definitely you'll be able to see them throughout the event, but sit at a different table and make new connections and see what happens for your life personally and professionally. Robert, thank you, my friend. God
Have a great
bless
day.
you. And I look forward to doing this again, and obviously for seeing you anytime in the near future. Plus, definitely at the Inspired to Lead
That's right.
event.
That's right.
All
That's
right,
right. Have a
all
good
right,
day.
guys. Love you. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.